Hey, what's going on, guys? It's time for another episode, which is 150, man. I think this is some sort of celebration we need to do here. 150 episodes. Wow. I want to talk about business and money of 2020. It's my review. I've been doing a couple since it's the third week of January and just kind of going over what happened with last year, with 2020, with Living Tiny. That was yesterday's podcast, and the day before, I think we had another one. Just kind of going over what it was like about business and money. We got a whole lot of things that have happened. And as always in my life, there's always been improvements. We've always had to pivot. I think everybody always has to pivot. And I kind of want to give you guys some of my ideas of and things that worked. They're not just ideas, just things I've implemented and they actually worked. And we're doing really good, man. 2020 was actually a really good year for us. I know it wasn't for a lot of people, and I'm sorry for that. But you know what? You got to pick up your chin. You got to get back up, dust yourself off, and see what we can do better. And I hope that some of the stuff I share with you guys today will actually help you to do just that. So this is a potty mouth podcast, so listener and viewer discretion is advised. This is not, the Disney Channel over here. Also, this is my F-350 pickup truck. I am encapsulated inside. This is one of my nights off. I only get one off a week, and I'm spending it with you guys here. But yeah, in case you're wondering what's going on around me, I'm inside my vehicle. Let's get on with the show. Enough dilly-dallying around. Welcome to another edition of Up and In It. I'm your host, Adrian Babashoff, and if you're new here, welcome as well. And if you're wondering what this show is about, it's entirely dedicated to improving quality of life for both people and planet through liberation and independence, moving you from surviving to thriving and living life. Rah. 2020, business and money review. First thing I want to talk about was there was this so-called trucker strike that was supposed to happen, I think, in November, like November 25th, 26th. No, I think it was December. Yeah, it was after Christmas or something. I can't really remember. It was either Thanksgiving or Christmas. I think it was Thanksgiving. But anywho, a lot of truckers here, I know we have listeners all over the world, but here in the United States, there was supposed to be, where the truckers weren't going to supply stuff anymore. And in big cities, I live outside of a big city, but yeah, that means grocery stores and things like that would be understocked. And one of the things that I've found in 2020, and it seems like it's finally got back to somewhat normal, was there was a shortage in the supply chain. There was a disruption. And I couldn't get such things for my garden. For those of you who, I'm going to talk about my construction business, I think mostly today. But for those of you who don't follow me, I spin farm, meaning I utilize somebody else's land that I don't own, and I grow a lot of my own food, and I have a fairly large project going on. But I needed to buy certain amendments and soils, and I could not get them. Actually, to be more acute and accurate here, when I found out that there was a supply shortage happening, I started making some phone calls to anywhere that I could to locate my soils and amendments and things that I did. And then I doubled and went and purchased a lot of soil and amendments because I didn't know what was going to go on. The whole trucker strike, which never really happened, by the way, never happened, but there was definitely a disruption in the supply chain. And I think some things are still disrupted. I fortunately am all set up as far as gardening goes anyways, but to put you guys in perspective as far as what money goes, we're going to talk about today, a sheet of plywood that I used to buy for like $12, $13 is now like $32. It's almost triple. I feel sorry for all the people that are building houses and stuff right now, and they're right dead in the middle, especially the huge housing tracts. They're probably hurting. But what did this trucker strike happened? I like to teach on the show a certain element of preparedness. We're doing things regardless whether things were bad or good. Whether there was a disruption or the trucker strike, I keep gardening. Do I know what's going on in the future? I don't know. There's a lot of people saying that there should be continuation of some supply chain disruptions. I think there might be a seed shortage. I think we're going to have a lot of people who are going to go back to the land movement where they're going to get they're going to want to start gardening a lot more. So I think that they could be buying out all the seed stock. So I definitely think I would recommend, again, whether it does or doesn't, stock up on some seeds, man, just in case. Nobody knows what's going on in this crazy day and age. But it came down to the fact of physical goods and equilibrium with money. So if there's a lesson that I learned with money and business of 2020, I could have never imagined an epidemic and stuff happening like this, but to get a balance, I'm not going to say that we should not do money, just all go live off the land. I think that's wrong. I think this day and age makes it very difficult. Is it possible? I think, yeah, but it's going to definitely take some training, and we need to educate ourselves and get some, and not just education, we need to get some experience down. You can educate yourself all you want, but real world is the real world, and it doesn't give a shit about you, whether you screw up or not. So if you're depending on things, in contrast to the monetary system, to go buy the things, you need to produce the things you own, you might want to think really fucking good and hard about that one. But I think that let's take some equilibrium, as I said. What are some things that we can do, that we can develop and create and produce for ourselves where we don't really need the money? There's a few things that come to my mind right now, like planting trees and things like that, like nut trees, agave plants where I live right now. Whatever your biome, wherever your environment is, whatever's growing indigenous there, mimic those things. And see that if we had property. There's the moringa tree, which, if those of you who don't know, it's called the tree of life, and it's supposed to have all the vitamins and minerals to sustain human and animal life just off it alone. So if you're able to grow something like a moringa tree, I'm like, why would we not do these things? Maybe guerrilla farm, for those of you who don't know, guerrilla farm is just go plant some seeds up on the side of the hill just outside of a major park where the sprinklers are going off, but it's not quite the park, and the runoff comes and it actually will water it, and you can tend to this thing, and plant a bunch of them. Something like that. Just nut trees I look at, they can't be taxed, but they'll feed you. And they grow forever. There's such things as, I think, like olive trees that are over like 1,000 years old. Talk about resiliency. And that's one of the things I like to call on the show is, and we might even change the whole show to resilient rebels. As far as being a resilient rebel, something that would feed you for over 1,000 years, trees are definitely something I think we should take a look at. But yeah, an equilibrium of money and physical goods, I think, is definitely something that we should all look into. And I think that we're going to have to come up with a show just on possibly that right there, of what I think that we can do. I think barter is probably a really good one. If those of you aren't aware, there's some really cool stuff on YouTube and just people doing basically what barter is. If you don't know, it's basically just trading. Say I grew a bunch of moringa trees and I brought you 5 pounds of moringa powder or moringa leaves, and you had some chickens, whatever. And I was like, dude, I'll trade you 5 pounds for 5 dozen eggs. I think that we should start organizing things like that with the people who actually get it. I think everybody's so stuck on the monetary system, and with the notion and the philosophy of as I use my brains, not my bronze. But I think that if we can find the people who utilize both, and are smart enough to go, you know what, maybe we should get an equilibrium of physical goods and money and trade amongst ourselves. Think about it. There's no taxes. It's just a gift from me to you, and there's a gift from you to me. Nobody needs to have nobody has basically, and who I'm talking about, has their fingers in anybody's pie at that point. And I think that we should start exercising and finding people, because we don't know where this whole thing's going to go. We don't know what the future holds, and what better way than to share and barter and trade for goods that you produce yourself. And I've done it already, and I want to tell you guys, the feeling is just, it's immense. It feels so gratifying. It's like, I just want to keep doing it. All right, so I wanted to tell you guys what's kind of sprung this whole thing off too, was that I was doing a job in the greater Los Angeles area, really, really good money, worked all day. Got reservations for a hotel because I have to stay there while I'm performing these jobs. And I get there at like 7 at night. I've been working all day, about a 3.5 hour drive from where I live in Sunnyside, San Diego County, and California. And I get there and the computers are down. And I says, I have reservations for Adrian Babashoff. And they're like, well, our computers are down. I'm like, what does that mean? I need a room. And they're like, we can't check you in without the computers. I says, why don't you just go get a fucking piece of paper, write me in, put me in an envelope or a little slot somewhere, a manila folder, and check me in. Here's my money. Can't do it. And I just really thought about how all of this technology and all this shit that's going on, like, It's supposed to be making our lives easier. And that's when I looked and I said, maybe the future could be compromised. Maybe we should start thinking about physical goods and incorporating those along with money. Again, I'm not saying the whole world's doomed. It's all fucking going down. The zombies are coming. No. I'm just saying that maybe we should start implementing these things, putting just as much energy into barter trade and producing a lot of our own shit than just putting it into money and relying on the monetary system. And we're going to talk about the monetary system here in a second. So one of the things in these times too, I want to move forward is referring back to personal plans. And I think that you should have a plan. I talk a lot about running your life like a business. And what does a business do? A business makes a plan. Mine is so simple. I don't really have a plan other than make as much fucking money as possible. But it kind of is a plan, because I know through a few years of watching my expenditures and stuff and logging down through using Microsoft Excel and Apple's numbers, getting on a budget, I kind of know what feels good and what doesn't. You know, I can look and go, I can live off $1,500 a month. Do I feel? Yes, I can. I've proven to myself that I can. But was it comfortable? Was it healthy? Was I happy? No. I wanted some extra things. I wanted to eat better foods. I didn't want to just live off rice and beans and, you know, and topper ramen. But I know what that feels like now. So I made a plan to go, well, I want to make X amount of dollars to live off, you know. So I came up with that plan. Now I know that when I start my year off, that's how, for those of you just following, I haven't followed listen to the other episodes, that's how I've gotten about 3 years worth of emergency funds, you know. That's how I know that I can live off what I can live on, what I can go down to bare minimal. And then going back to 2020, I was able to make enough money in 2020 to pay for all of 2021. But I didn't know, if I didn't have a plan, I wouldn't be able to know that, hey, I made it. And knowing that I made it was a really, really good feeling, because it's been a endeavor of mine for a very long time to see, can I make a year's amount of money in advance so I don't even have to think about the next year. And yes, those of you who are asking, it's nighttime and I'm working. I'm still working because I want to get ahead in life. I want to do some other things besides just to have 3 years of emergency funds. So yeah, I choose. But the difference is I choose to do what I'm doing. I can easily just choose not to do and just fuck off and do nothing. But yeah, having a plan is really, really good. And especially in troubling, stressful times like a lot of you guys are probably going through right now, when you have a plan like I do, you can refer back to it. Because believe it or not, as well set up as I am, I still started stressing. I started fucking doing this like 2 weeks ago. I was like, oh my God, you know, I'd finished all my jobs. I didn't advertise or anything. And I started freaking out. And I was like, dude, I got to get more work because this is what I need to do. I want to make more money, and here's a quota I want to make. And I was like, dude, you're fine. Just take it easy. But if I didn't go back and look at my plan of what that I'm doing, and I didn't have a plan, then you kind of lose sight of it, if that makes sense. We get stuck in the pandemonium and the drama, the emotional pornographies and the drama of stuff, you know. So when you do start to feel like you're losing your mind and you do got that plan, you can write it down on your phone, write it down on paper, and just every once in a while when you start losing, just go right back to that and look and go, okay, what's going on? And then you look and go, you know what, everything's okay, you know. Or maybe it's not. Maybe we're just plateauing and maybe I need to work a little bit harder, but everything's going to be good. If it's not good, we're like, here's our plan. We're just going to stick to it and give it to the next 5 months and see if we can come up with our quota or whatever it is, the plan that you're doing. Can we get closer to it? So plans have definitely helped me out. And the number one thing in business, as they say, is if you don't have a plan, you can plan on failing. And as I say a lot on this show, you should run your life like a business. Because as we just said earlier, if everything that we do, our food, our heat, our shelter, everything comes from fucking what? Money. So why would we not run our life like a business? And what happens if we don't have a plan? I think we can fail. And I think a lot of people, if this recession worldwide keeps happening, are going to fail. And it's because of that. They don't have a fucking plan. And I don't mean to beat anybody up or nothing, but there's no excuses now. You can go out there and make yourself a plan. And you need to listen to my shows and stuff. Listen to the stuff I'm saying. I don't want to regurgitate everything, but maybe I should. Comment below, upandinitshow@gmail.com, and let me know if you want me to just make a show about what the fuck should you plan for? How do you even develop a plan? You know, I can't plan for everybody because I don't know how their life is going. I don't know what is involved in your family's life or your personal life, but I hope that these things that I share gives you some insight. All right, so enough of that. I need to wet my whistle here. I've got my wine with you. This is my one night off. By the way, guys, I got to put these fucking shows on for like 30 minutes at max. We're already at 50% capacity. I am budgeting, as I just tried to teach, and I can't afford. I have to pay for these shows, right, to distribute them on Apple iTunes and all that kind of stuff. So I'm trying to limit it to just Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, and we're going to do 30-minute shows. But I got to hurry up and get it all done, and I'm trying to take my time and not get too nervous about spending too much time and not saying everything I want to say. So, again, let me know how I'm doing, man. Give me a middle finger, too. I don't give a fuck. If I suck, man, tell me I suck. Tell me where I can fix it, and definitely let me know if I've helped you guys. So we're going to get into some good stuff here. I think anybody who's entrepreneurs, especially if you're in the construction industry, I think this can kind of go for many, many businesses. So just listen to what I have to say, and please tell me that I'm wrong and that I'm full of shit and these things suck. I've been, first of all, to start off, is finding the patience for the high-end jobs. This is just what happened recently. I finished all my high-end fucking jobs and put in my advertisement, and I've been going out. And I swear, you guys, I'm not as badass as some people think that I am. I looked at probably about 8 jobs, and I didn't sell a fucking one of them. And instead of freaking out, these people were cheap. A lot of them I don't think were too savvy. Some of them I've had clients come back from months later and were like, hey, we want you to do the job now. And it worked. But have the patience is one of the skills I've had. Learning to have the patience and not freaking out, and looking at your plan on your phone to know that, hey, you don't have to do this job for less money. You don't even have to do this job. You can just go home and fucking write another podcast. You don't need to deal with this fucking asshole, you know? I hate to talk about people that way, but they're not assholes. They're whatever, blah, 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 blah. But, yeah, waiting for the high-end jobs, and I think I just sold 2 or 3 today in one day. And to give you guys some perspective, it's a couple $1,000s, right? Sometimes I can make, well, I don't know if I should say it. They say never to say how much you make, but it's really good fucking money, guys. It's top end, really, really good money. I feel bad sometimes that I make as much money as some people do in a month and like a week, you know, but hey, it's my skills and stuff that I want to share with you guys next. Let's get into that. So my top 4 business strategies, at least for my construction business. My very first one is video. One thing I've learned is a lot of people are more visual. And so what I do is I'll walk, like most of mine is roofing construction. So I get my iPad, by the way. And so it's got a big screen, especially for the senior citizens. And we're running out of time, so I got to kind of book it here a little bit. But basically what I do is I get up and I take my video and I walk the whole scenario and I start counting out, say, broken roof tiles and stuff like that, cracked sealants, and I just start pointing everything all out as I walk from the ladder. And then when I'm done, and then I show where the problematic areas, if there was a leak, and then I kind of explain in the video, here's exactly what it is that we're going to do. We're going to take about this amount of space, which is a very large space, and here's why, and here's what we expect to find, and blah, 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 blah. And I'm going to pause right here, because sometimes you aren't able to talk to the owners. And what happens if you're unable to talk to the owners, and this is, say, a renter or something, you can send that video, and now the owner could actually see and identify and see what the high cost and hoopla is all about, and what you're saying you got to fix. How the thing, and what I love to explain, how did the thing go wrong? Why did it go wrong? And what are we going to do to stop it so it never goes wrong again? Here's what we're going to do. And that way they get a general idea, and they get to actually see, because it's visual, and they know. And then when I'm doing the job, let's see here, I'm going to jump one. I'll take that video and I'll as I'm doing the job, I'll strip everything, open it all up to find where the problem is, and I'll videotape the problem. And then I'll explain more. Well, here's why this problem happened very rapidly, nothing like a long fucking movie. Just here's what went wrong. You got some rotten plywood here, this and that. So we're going to remove all this stuff. And now we're back again, and I show the plywood all fixed and everything. And then here we are again. We're going to put all the new paper. And here's a couple little details, you know, we do extras that nobody else does. And then here's everything put back together. And thank you so much for having us. And then what I do is before I even even sell the job to the client, I show them the job previous, or I tell them go to Facebook, to my Facebook site, and you'll actually see all the comments and stuff of the videos that I put on, and was the job right before I did yours. So the customer gets to see what went wrong, how that it was fixed right and everything, proven fact, proof basically of what we did, and that we replaced everything and went well beyond what we're supposed to do, did extra things for you, and we did some free things, cleaned out the gutters and stuff like that, so it really helps the sales out. The other thing is when you do get your clients where it is the owner, again, the iPad, what I did is take a bunch of pictures of stuff that I did, of where it went bad, how it went bad, what I did to fix the problem. Not videos, but just pictures, like a slideshow. And this is all on my iPad. So basically, when I have my owner standing there in front of me before I even give them the price, I start showing them the video and walking through. You can scrub through the video, to the bad parts and the good parts and all that. And then I just shut that video off, and then I go and I said, well, you see, here's the roof that we just did, just photos again, so it's quick. Here's what happened. This is most likely what's happening with your roof. We took everything apart, we fixed it with this, that, had to replace some wood, bam, bam, and here's how we did it, that it won't ever happen again. And then the people are more visual again, and that helps. The iPad has made me a shit ton of money. I should probably buy a fucking new one. I'm so cheap. I've got one that's probably like 8 years old, the iPad 2, I think, or something. But yeah, that's been one of my biggest tools as far as the sales. The last one I'm going to give you guys is repairs versus overhauls. And this is how I just sold a couple $1,000s worth of work today, was that most other contractors are thinking, and they're right, they can make a lot of money with their crews and all their guys by doing a complete overhaul of a house. But a lot of customers, especially retirees, retired people, they don't have that much money, that income coming in. So what I do is I give them a price for an overhaul, but then I tell them, why don't we just repair, and it costs a little bit extra money per square foot than it would for an overhaul, but why don't we just repair or re-overhaul just the areas that went bad? And I've had clients, and it's honest work. I'm not trying to screw anybody over at all. I'm just not screwing anybody over. I'm actually saving them money. Other companies are not offering this. That says, if it's your choice, I will overhaul the whole entire thing, or I'll only overhaul the bad areas. I got clients who haven't talked to me in over 10 years because we overhauled the areas that were problematic, and the rest of the roof has been fine. So that's how I've gone in. And don't tell anybody that I'm sharing this with you, other contractors. But I can see whatever sector you're into, if you're just able to overhaul those problems, just the problematic areas from it, saves them that much more money, and they're very, very happy with that. So it's a win-win situation for everybody, because I get to do everything myself. If not, I have just a few helpers every now and then. But I make more money doing this. My overhead's super fucking low. My stress level's super low. The job gets done right because I'm the one doing it. Plus, that gives me the freedom that I don't have to run a bunch of crews. I could take off time whenever I want, not have to keep them busy, worried about losing employees and things like that. And I could be spending time doing other things, such as this podcast or my garden business, which I did half the work today was bidding on jobs. The other half was planting some seeds. If you want to know, I planted some miner's lettuce, which is an indigenous weed that grows here that tastes really good. I did some corn salad. I forget the other name for it, though. That's also a weed that grows wild. That's supposed to be like a nutty lettuce, and it's indigenous. So I'm going to have no problems with pests and stuff like that. I believe on it. It's my first time growing it. I planted some romaine lettuce and some, I think some iceberg lettuce. So I'm excited about that. It's January here, so it's super cold, but it's still relatively warm in sunny side San Diego, California. But yeah, it was I really liked that. But I was able to do that because I have the freedom. So yeah, I can go on and on about that, but just basically, I think my biggest ones is that the overhead, man, and that I don't have the employees, and I'm making really, really good money doing this. My biggest one is that it gives me the freedom. So I'm done with that. You're welcome. I hope you take my secrets and you run with them. There's a lot more that I haven't shared. Again, it's upandinitshow@gmail.com. Let me know if you guys want me to do more of this sort of thing or less of this sort of thing, or if you have questions. But to move forward I think it's very smart for us to do a continuation of diversified income streams. And that's why I'm working really hard on my garden business for a localized and possibly an internet garden business, because you never know. And I'm doing fantastic, guys, but I think that we should always be leery and never put our guard down and expand. I don't want to do roofing construction and painting and drywalls and stuff like that for the rest of my life. I'm getting bored. I only do it now is because it's such great money and I have such freedom. It's start and finish jobs, and like most people have to show up 9 to 5, whether they even own a business. My business is start and finish. I can plan, as I said, to make X amount of dollars, know exactly how much taxes I got to pay, put that money aside, and everything's just fucking streamlined. So that's how I do what I do. And yeah, I don't think it's for everybody. I don't think it's as easy for everybody. But if you can utilize the examples that I've given you today, damn, you guys, damn, life is definitely is better. But yeah, continuation of diversified income streams is something I am really, really working hard on. And that's my biggest one, is in case I ever got hurt or, I'm getting older and things like that. Plus I'm just being bored, and it would be nice to know that I can do something a little less physically demanding, like gardening and stuff like that. And I think that would help out, improve the planet a lot better by helping people to produce their own food, make them healthier. And if they're producing their own food, there's a lot less gasoline being spent and importation of stuff. And I don't know. I just feel like it's time for a change. And who knows if the world changes, makes me have to change. What if they invent some robot that's able to do stuff that I'm doing? So I don't know. Diversification. I don't know what to say much more on that, but the last thing I have is, what if they eliminate the money and go completely to digital currency? This is my last note on here, and plus I'm running out of time, it looks like. And if it is, we should learn to diversify. We should learn to start bartering and things like that. I don't know what's going to happen. If they are going to get rid of money, and I don't see why they wouldn't. That way they can tax the shit out of us and have everything monitored, know every little penny of not only how it's made, but where it's spent. Makes total sense to me. And you can control the world that way. Regardless of what's happening, I think we all need privacy. We all need freedom. And I think that barter, learning to grow your own food, producing a lot of your own physical goods in conjunction with making the money, you're not going to go bad, man. You're not going to go bad. So that's the show, guys. I would like to keep on going. I fucking love doing these shows, man. I can't quit. I've been talking about quitting, and I'm not sure if I can. It's like it's an outlet for me, and it's exciting to see things growing relatively slow. I mean, really slow. What is this, episode 150 here? And I don't know, man. It would really help me out. I don't ask of anything other than you guys to give me a thumbs up, thumbs down, or middle finger. Comment. If you guys can, give me a review on Apple iTunes, or I don't even know if they do it on YouTube or Spotify. I think help doing the reviews and stuff like that's really going to help the show get off the ground. So if you don't mind doing that, give me a rating, man. And hopefully I helped you guys out is the biggest thing. And the worst case scenario, even if I suck at doing this stuff, I hope to make some really, really good friends and know that there's other people out like me. Like, there's not many of us. And it'd be nice to not feel so lonely and have somebody actually to talk to and bounce ideas off, man. Because I really, even if the show and everything else goes off, doesn't never go anywhere, it'd be really cool to meet somebody else who's doing something like that I'm doing, and we can share ideas and make both of our lives even better. So that's the show, guys. Check it up. It's up and in it at TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Apple iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Stitcher. I think anybody who will allow me to actually produce my fucked up opinion on their platforms. But as I always say, guys, I will be here every Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. And as I always say, go out there and have yourself a near-life experience. Don't lose your muchness. Carry on the fire. Human up. Live it, love it, own it, and bone it, my friends.